Good morning, good afternoon, whatever the time is on your side, we greet and we salute everyone. We welcome you to another segment of this beautiful program on the African Portal Radio with Khumo Afrika. It's going to be another beautiful time in the studio as we'll be having a conversation around the topic that we already put on the space that we believe that all our followers already pick it up. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to connect with our guest in Abuja. That have to do with some incident that happened on his side. But Khumo Afrika is on standby to have the conversation with you and for us to talk about the African youth empowerment and education. Those are the things that we'll be having conversation on this program this hour. Dumela Ashe Moloe, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bonjour. Barisa, all over Africa, we greet, we salute everyone joining us. Thank you for joining this broadcast this hour. It's Monday morning on the African Portal Radio. Here it's no longer morning, it's afternoon now in Victoria, South Africa. But in Nigeria, it's good morning in Nigeria. Welcome to the African Portal Radio TV International. Let me use this time to put Khumo Afrika on the spotlight so that it will be able to tell us what we have and what is coming on this show this hour. Khumo Afrika, good morning, and how are you this morning? Thank you, everyone joining us. It's going to be a beautiful time. Are you there? Are you there? We're going to get connected to. Hello, are you there?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm there. Like, you, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself. You're already on the floor.
Yeah. Okay. Khumo Afrika, the one talking on the radio. Now, I remains Olabanjo Rahman. Olabanjo is my surname. Rahman is my Muslim name. Why Olawi is my African name. So people call me Khumo Afrika because Khumo, it means which is like the meaning of my name, that is Ola, which means wealth. So in South Africa, Wana language, Khumo means riches too. So that is why they say Khumo Afrika. So that is my name. Good afternoon, my able presenter.
Welcome to the African Portal Radio. It's a great pleasure to have you on board after a very long time. That have to do with some incident that happened, but we thank God for the gift of life that we are still standing. Welcome to this show this hour. Today we want to be talking about the issue of education and empowerment. Education and empowerment. I just want us to quickly go into the conversation of today so that we can be able to cover one or two things before we run out of our time. Uh, when we're talking about the youth in Africa, many people seems to believe that the youth are the leader of tomorrow. But I used to tell people that the youth are not the leader of tomorrow; they are the leader of the today, because the today determine their future. And if we jeopardize or we mess up with their today, I mean, unfortunately, we have messed up their future. So let's talk about the youth empowerment and education in Africa. Let's take Africa as a case study, and let's use the environment where we are as well as a case study. Okay, so quickly take us into that conversation. What is your own take on that? Quickly introduce my audience to that.
All right, when you're talking about education, generally in Nigeria, in Africa, not only in Nigeria, in South Africa and everywhere, I will just take us back to the olden days. You know, before the Western education came to the existence in Africa, so we have what is called non-formal education. Some will call it semi-formal education or whatever. But what I want us to understand in this setting is that we have gotten our own ways of educating our children from our forefathers before the advent of our colonial masters. So it means before the colonial masters came to Africa, we had already gotten what is known as education. We have our own basic standard. It may not be formal by then, but we have the way which may not be written then, but through the culture of different tribes or different ethnic groups. So we had this kind of how do we educate our kids, how do we teach them how to respect others and the likes, how to make them to be a functional kids in the society. These are the things we have been doing before the advent of the Western education. So because if you want to discuss something about the youth empowerment without mentioning the root of where education came, then we will not be able to justify the topic being given today. Now, I will just take us to that during that our olden days, during our forefathers' days, they taught us how to respect others. They taught us if you want to marry, maybe in terms of marriage, so what you have to do during the courtship and the likes. That is in terms of marriage. When it comes to the kind of, in terms of dressing in education, we have the way, so we are talking about the culture. Because you can't discuss any education of a particular society without mentioning the culture, because they are interwoven. You can't just explain something about education without the culture of that particular nation. So that is why we need to understand the root of education in Africa. So we are being educated before the advent of the colonial masters. So we respected ourselves. We did things together by then, whereby we assisted with that kind of a joint work, whereby from one clan they would try to assist the other clan, even if it's in terms of business.
We are discussing a very important issue there. Okay.
To do all this in that aspect.
Continue.
Hello?
Hello, you can continue.
Can you get me? So in this aspect, so we will just take us to that we have what is called non-formal, or we call it informal education. Those are the education we were used to before the advent of the colonial masters. So when the colonial masters came here in Africa, now they added to those that was on ground. Those things, those culture, the values, the ethics that we have in our society, they added to it. Now, when they added to it, they brought what is known as a classroom setting, whereby we can have the students, the learners too, that will sit in that a well-structured classroom, that will have a teacher that will be the instructor or the guide in that structured classroom. Also, in that setting, we will have what is called a prepared syllabus or a prepared curriculum for that class. That is where the Western culture, the Western education came with what is known as formal education. So if you want to understand this part, we must understand that we have the formal education, then we have informal education. Even some will say we have semi-formal. But because when they arranged that, they made it sure that, okay, every lesson that will be taught in the class must be well understood by the teachers. Then the topics to be taught must be well treated very well. That is why it brought about the curriculum. Then is being put into. Then syllabus also are being put into. We have education we have in Africa today. So with this, then we use. So we understand that the education we had already. You know, when you cook a food, hello?
I'm there.
So you know, when you cook a food, you have to add salt. So you have to have the African
Okay, we are not
our educational setting because it was informal.
Thank you very much for that introduction. A part of your line is breaking, and it's breaking badly that people hardly hear what you are saying. I don't know why your line is breaking. Yeah, we are hearing you, but part of your what you are saying is breaking, and people cannot hear you. People joining us, thank you very much for joining us. This is Khumo Afrika on the African Portal Radio International. We're coming to you live from Pretoria here in South Africa. Those of you connecting with us, please share this program. Let it go for us. Send your comments. We are talking about the African education, and then we are talking about the empowerment. Also, we'll be talking about the aspect of the entrepreneur in Africa. What is the original way of life of who we are as an Africa? And when the colonial master arrived, the kind of education, the Western education that you are practicing in Africa, what is the effect, of it? What goodness and what good that is doing for Africa, and what benefit it is to Africa, and what damage is it doing to African setting and African way of life? Those are the things that we'll be looking at this hour. We are talking about the African education, and we are talking about the Western education, and what benefit do we have when we are talking about the African education, and what damage did Western education does to African education. Those are the things that we'll be having conversation on. Those of you joining us, please, let's share this program. Let's do it together. Khumo Afrika is back online. Let's quickly see if we can be able to get a better network from his side. Khumo Afrika, people are listening to you. Your network is breaking.
Hello?
Yeah, we are you too. We can hear you now.
Hello?
We can hear you. You're already in the floor.
So as I was saying before, so we were talking about the flavor. That was what the Western culture, Western education brought to African education. They just added flavor to our educational setting. That is why we have what is called formal education. Now, if you don't want to do this, then we must consider a lot of things when we want to engage youth in this educational setting. We must look at the age of the student and the learners you want to engage. We must look at the background of the learners. We must look at the family background of the learners you want to engage. Because when you want to impart knowledge into somebody that is not fully breastfed, that is not fully happy, then that will be a serious issue in an educational setting. So in this kind of situation, then we now engage the youth. As we all know, the youth, they according to African Youth Charter, they discuss about the youth. We have brought different kinds of people onto the program to explain who are the real youth in Africa. So, but later on, I will let you understand my own stand on the youth in Africa. So, in this situation, we have to understand that African youth, they are the youth who are agile, who are active, who are passionate about their nation, I mean the continent they belong to. African youth is a somebody who believes in the togetherness, who believes in the team working, who believes that doing things together can make Africa develop. That is what we define as African youth. They are those people who can make things work in a certain environment in Africa. So that is what I was saying about Africa. Now, if you now want to empower this African youth, there are a lot of things that we need to consider. As I said earlier on, we need to check the environment where you want to empower the youth. Is the environment conducive for the youth? That is the first point. Now, we need to look at that environment. Is it conducive? Then we need to look at the background of the youth we want to empower. So we are talking about, the background we are talking about is that, is it from our family or is it from a rich family? Those families are not rich, maybe they are not rich and they are not poor. So we need to consider that. Now the environment they are living, we need to look at that surrounding. Is it conducive for them? I mean the type of the governance they are running in that society, in that nation, or in that country. So those are the things we need to look at if we want to empower the youth in Africa. I think for now, so I will stay till we continue. So maybe another thing that we go on with that.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that information. Let's quickly look at the disadvantages and the advantages of the Western education in African settings. Because, you know, as you said earlier on, that Africans already have their own way of life. They have their own way of educating their children and stuff like that. But when the Western education came, there are some certain things that happen to Africa. There are some changes that take place in Africa. What are the benefits and the disadvantages of the Western education in African settings?
Yeah, thank you, Presenter. So if you look at the situation of things in Africa, so before right, even now everything is still that is in. So the thing we need to ask ourselves is about the issue of Western education and that of African education. So there are some things that we need to get right. There are some things that we need to remove from all these things. Now, what are we talking about? There are even in African culture, we will still see some things that are not right in African culture that will just say, okay, let's remove this from it. There are some things that we'll see in point. So all these things need to be taken care of. Now, for example, when you're talking about Western education, it brought innovation. They let us know that, okay, part of the advantage of Western education is the creation of the classroom settings. You know, during our home program, there was no classroom setting. Traditional setting of education in Africa is maybe they will take the kids, all the learners, to under the trees. That's where the learning will take place. Now, or beside the road, village square. That's how education came. They brought standardized school. So that's why we have an innovation. That is another advantage of Western education. So there is scientific innovation. They made us to understand that we can further the research. We can carry out research on the learner to know how to. So we got to realize that through scientific innovation, because they made us to say, okay, we can carry out state of this kind of learners to know how they can add to know their intelligent quotient. We call it IQ. So it's part of advantage of Western education. They brought innovation. Innovation in terms of acquisition of knowledge, innovation in terms of creating new invention, innovation in terms of those things, the machineries, the tools that will make it easier for us. For instance, there was no chalkboard, no board. Before they would just be talking about forefathers only who wanted to deliver the knowledge. We will need to just speak louder. But this time around, we had a board. Before they call it chalkboard, now we have notice and we have a whiteboard. Now we can use projector. That is part of the advantage of Western education. It promotes most of those innovation, scientific innovation. So also we have, because of the time, we have the disadvantage, like the new things, the new things that are coming up that is even against the culture of Africa. We all know that in African culture, there are some, we respect the elders. We respect the elders. So there are some cases whereby the Western education belittles or doesn't give sound respect or we should also talk about it. Also, if we talk about the aspect of fashion, look at fashion. In our olden days, African culture, we dress modestly. So we dress appropriately. We don't need, our ladies, they don't need to show all their bodies before they can get attracted by the men. But part of the Western culture we take from their education is that, okay, you can wear anything you want as far as it is okay with you. But in African culture, women's body is a kind of only thing that must be kept. Is a kind of thing that must not be exposed. So those are the kind of the disadvantage of Western education. Also, we know that in Western education, so there is chance, as part of that advantage, that there is chance for improvement on existing discoveries. That this way when we discover things, then we want to, okay, this is how it was being discovered. See, in African culture, so then it was okay, that was how our forefathers did it, then we must leave it like that. But there is a continuous process in any innovation being created. That is advantage. I've told you that of the disadvantage also that. So we need to, there are some things we need to execute. There are some things we need to reject from African and Western culture. We need to respect our elders. Then it is part of the advantage of Africa and of Western education is that it gives room for everybody to participate. Inclusive participation. You see, either you are young, you are youth, you are adult, no, they don't want to know. As far as you have this basic knowledge, you can contribute, your knowledge can be contributed into the development of the nation. They will welcome that idea. That is the you will see that that's what it may not be okay with the situation in Africa, whereby you say, okay, no, the little one, hey, you have to step aside, listen to elders. We are not saying we should not listen to elders, but elders must also try to raise the kids. They should let them also find out and see what do they have in brain, because elders, the time will come whereby the elders will not be able to do what he used to do. Then it will not be the turn, the time of the younger one to take over. Now the younger ones shall not train. How will they take over the power of leadership? How will they take over the seat of leadership? How will they take over the seat of governance? It means that is the difference we can find between the Western education and African education. African education is a kind of something that we are being conditioned through our culture to a certain thing that no, you have to listen to elders. You don't talk. We are around, there are some things that may even benefit the elder when they allow the youth to do what? To participate in those things. That's why we are having the problem in Africa now. Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly go into the aspect of the conversation, which is the empowerment. But before that, some of the group in Africa, they were calling for they want the Western education to be abolished in Africa. And some of the group are really fighting against that to make sure that the Western education is not actually taking place in Africa. Let's talk about that. Let's see what is your own view about the calling for the abolishment of the Western education in Africa. Then what is the empowerment aspect of it? What is it all about?
All right. So people have been clamoring for changes in Africa. For the youth in Africa, we were sleeping before, but nowadays the youth are waking up. We need change in Africa because the youth have been marginalized. The youth are not allowed to discuss what they have for their future. Now, it's not that we are my whole point of view on the issue of abolishment of Western education. I'm not saying we should totally forget all Western educational culture. We shouldn't. But what I'm saying is that we should incorporate. There are some things we need to do that are not even working in Africa. Because that, if you should remember my presenter, the Western education we had is for the people. I mean the Western people. Those who came to colonize us in Africa. It's not so that education encompasses the Western ideas. Whereas we have our own rich culture that we need to incorporate into Western education. Now, what I would just advise our people is that we must incorporate not all Western education we can abolish. We just remove all those ones. We must allow that of African culture, African set of education to take place. I will support that. Then, because what I see in the Western education is that it's not taking care of African ideas. It's not taking care of African culture. It's not showcasing the real African culture we have. Because what is showcasing is the kind of slavery culture they brought to us. So, in order to do that, we must, if you say abolish, because I don't want to use that way. I will say, okay, and the right. If you say, okay, we want to abolish we'll go back to the medieval period, whereby we won't be using aeroplane, we won't be using cars, we won't be using, no, we need it. What we need to do is an integration of African culture into Western ideas. We must create our own.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the empowerment before we call it a day. Our time is fast.
Education we are talking about, we still see that. Yeah.
Our first.
Okay. So now to empower our youth.
Yeah, continue.
So then the leaders must give room for participation. You must be allowed to empower the youth. The youth must be allowed to partake in decision making, either in politics, either in educational setting, either in formulating the curriculum that suit educational career, that suit the educational objectives of Africa. So the educational goals, I'm talking about educational mission of Africa. The youth must be allowed to give their ideas. They must be able to participate in formulating new ideas that attract the African culture, the African idea, the African setting that we hope for. Then they try to guide the youth, they monitor the youth. That will be my own empowerment to the youth. They must be there to participate in the.
Okay, Khumo Afrika, thank you very much for that information that you drop in this place. Thank you very much, our listeners out there. Thank you very much for joining us. We having conversation around the education. We'll continue next week by the grace of God. This will be the end today's segment of this time. This will be to end today by the grace of God. Next week we will continue from where we stop, where we are talking about the African education, Western education, the education for the youth, and the empowerment. What are the things that we actually need to eradicate from the Western education, and what are the things that we need to bring back to the spotlight in African education? Africans seem to have their own settings before the Western education arrive, and what are the things that we need to bring back from our own education into the Western education for us to be able to have a good community, a good society whereby the youth will have opportunity as well to have a say, where youth can be able to contribute their quota to the progress of African continent, where youth as well will be inclusive in decision making in Africa. Those are the things that we having conversation on. This will be the end to this broadcast for this hour. Join us again next week by the grace of God. Khumo Afrika will also be on set next week for us to continue with this conversation. And this will be the end from me to you. Thank you very much, everyone, joining us. It's a goodbye from here. My name remains Dare Olusa. The African Portal is the radio for all. Please join us. For those of you that you have anything to ask, or you want to contribute, or you want us to advertise your products, call us on +2778 7033584. Remember, there is a place in Victoria where you can enjoy yourself, where you can make your day a beautiful and nice one. It's 217 Victoria Street here in Victoria. The Blaze Lodge is here in Victoria. Go there and enjoy yourself. Thank you very much, everyone. This will be the end to this broadcast, and we'll see you on top of the hour by the grace of God. The African Portal is home for all. Enjoy this music and have a beautiful afternoon. And God bless everyone joining us. God bless the African Portal. God bless Africa. God bless every one of us. Thank you very much. See you again on top of the hour, where we'll be bringing you another aspect of the conversation, where we'll be hosting one of our very own in the studio. Remember, what we are discussing this hour is about the African education and the Western education, the empowerment and the education for the youth. That is what we are talking about. And Khumo Afrika have stated it in wrap up. He have stated it. He have talked about the necessity of the Western education in our community and the necessity of the African education in the Western education. And those are the things that is very, very crucial. We have to balance the two. Thank you very much. Let's put the youth on the spotlight. Let's give this youth as well the chance. The youth, they are not the leader of tomorrow. They are leader of today. So give them chance. Let them see what needs to be done and teach them how to do it well. God bless you, everyone. Have a beautiful Monday. See you again next week. God bless you. Bye for now.